I have closed over $10 million using a very specific virtual event strategy. And in this video, I'm gonna break it down step by step so that you can close your next $10 or even $100,000 in sales. If we haven't met before, my name is Eileen Wilder, and in the past few years, I've closed millions of dollars from stage in both virtual, live, in-person, automated, you name it. Virtual events have been the game for the past few years. Because it's no secret, right? To grow and scale your business without overwhelm, you need to learn how to do virtual events. But the tricky part is figuring out how to put it all together so that it's high converting and it closes your perfect client. If you have questions, comments, feedbacks, drop them down below the video, and I can't wait to serve you after the video is done. So let's dive into the exact strategy of how we've done over $10 million using virtual events and how you can close your next $10,000 or even $100,000 in sales. So let's dive in and talk about what is a virtual event. Now, here's what we're not talking about. I'm not talking about you hosting an event in your local area, in a hotel, hosting a seminar where people come to you. I'm not talking about a live in-person event. What I'm talking about here is a virtual event. This virtual event is kind of like a class that you hold on Zoom. Just like you were on a Zoom call, but just with a bunch of new people, a bunch of friends gathering together in that Zoom room. The important distinction here is, why is a virtual event way better and way easier than hosting a live event? While live events seem to have a lot of glamour and you're like, wow, I'm hosting this thing at this hotel and I'm so cool. What you may not know is there's a lot of cost, a lot of overhead hosting live events. I remember when I first got started and I hosted my very first live event before virtual events were a thing, and they told me how much the coffee was at the hotel, and it was like $1,600 a gallon. It was so expensive. I had no idea how much costs are involved with hotels. Like the internet costs $1 billion per laptop. It's so weird how expensive hotels are. But when virtual events came out, which was kind of around the time during COVID 2020, Zoom took off, virtual events became so amazing to host because there was no overhead. All you needed to do was have a Zoom account. So can you imagine just on Zoom hosting your own little class, masterclass, mini event? Big event if you want to. These events started crushing because now we were sitting home. I remember the very first one that I did, I was in my rented apartment and I was in my apartment hosting a large class, no overhead, no coffee needed. I was having attendees from around the world, and so can you. So virtual events is what you want to start with, go all in with, because there's no overhead, especially when you want to sell, like what you should sell at your event. We're going to dive deeper into that, about how to make that offer super sexy. So stick with me there. There's going to be something called a delivery event, which can be in person, which is so fun. But when you're selling, think virtual events. And before you start thinking, do I need a big wall of faces like Tony Robbins, or big virtual event studio, or what does this need to look like when I'm hosting it on Zoom? Do I need to have a studio, a stage, incredible lighting? No. Some of your best six-figure days and even seven-figure days will happen right from your home office. I know this sounds crazy pants, but sitting at the same exact desk that I'm sitting at right now in my home, I've done a seven-figure day multiple times. Now, if you're like, that's crazy talk, I've never heard such things, suspend your disbelief, because we're in a new day. We're in a new era. The e-learning economy, the virtual event economy, it's just beginning. I've heard people say that with the additions and updates that are happening with Zoom right now, that we're just on the cusp of virtual events. So if you're watching this video this year or in the years to come, congratulations, because virtual events are not going away anytime soon. The world is starting to notice how scalable, how international, how easy, and how low cost and low overhead it is to sell with virtual events. Okay, now that we've established the power of virtual events, the power of revenue for your business using virtual events, now let's talk about, what does that look like? How long are these virtual events? How do I get people to show up in the room for this virtual event? Here is my best prescription. If you're under $1 million right now in revenue, my best prescription is host a virtual event for 2 to 4 hours. I like to call it a 4-hour masterclass. You may be thinking, oh my gosh, Eileen, I haven't done anything for 4 hours. How could I even talk for 4 hours? Well, the cool thing is, in a couple of minutes, I'm going to show you how you not talking for 4 hours will actually produce more revenue. So that's exciting, right? But think about guest speakers, so many cool things that we're going to dive into inside this video. But my best prescription, start off with a 2 to 4 hour virtual event. This is so fire, and this works so much better than webinars, because you know how with webinars you can sell something typically about $1,000 or less. On a 4-hour masterclass, because it's 4 hours and you have more time in the room with people, you can sell high ticket. Now, if you don't have a high ticket offer yet, this is also super exciting when we get to the offer portion. But here's the cool thing is when you host people for a longer amount of time in a virtual event, think about it. The know, the like, the trust, the time to get to know you and your work, the time to showcase your testimonials, talk about your experience, the time to get to know people in the room. All of that builds this beautiful environment for people to then be open to listening to how you could serve them at the highest level. Now, it won't be for everybody, but it will be perfect for some of the people in the room. So isn't it exciting thinking about speeding up your cash velocity, the speed to the sale, the speed to collecting money, if you think about that in less than a day? Wow. Right? No sales calls, less than 4 hours. You could test your offer. You could make sales with that offer. It's endless, the creativity and the speed to revenue that you can have with a virtual event. So my best prescription, 4 hours. Now, if your business is doing over $1 million, $3 million, 5 or over 10, highly encourage you to host a 5-day challenge. We'll talk about that in just a minute inside this video, but a 5-day challenge is a couple hours each day over 5 days consecutively. 5-day challenge. This works better for businesses at a higher revenue point or businesses that have a large audience, but yet no converting offer yet, because more time in the room over those multiple consecutive days is kind of like summer camp for people. By the end of that 5-day challenge, people they've got partnerships in the room, for new friends in the room. They are wide open to anything that you're going to offer and invite them to at the end of that week. So packages, high ticket offers will sell 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 offers typically sell beautifully in a 5-day challenge. Now, I know you got questions and you're already like, hey, but tell me more about this. Don't forget to drop it below in the comments, and me and my team are here to support you all the way, because we want to see you crush it using virtual events, right? Okay, so now we talked about what a virtual event is and some formats of how long the virtual events are. Let's talk now about filling it with your perfect ideal clients, right? Because you don't want to just show up and talk to not your ideal client, right? You want like the perfect people who are like, tell me more. Dive deeper. Take my money, right? You want the perfect ideal clients in that room with you. So here's how we fill the room. Before I talk about our ticket sales strategy, first I want you to redefine how many people that you need in the room to crush a 6 or even 7-figure day. Now wrap your mind around this for a second. 200 people in a room. Let's just imagine a screen with 200 people on it. With 200 people in a room, 7-figure day. Wow. Selling a $30,000 package. I know you're probably like, what? But just imagine, it doesn't take a billion people in a room to crush high revenue numbers. Let's talk about if you had a $10,000 offer, okay? And just go with me here with the price points, but selling 10 at 10K, you're a 6-figure day. So just 10 sales at $10,000, easy 6-figure day. Can you imagine hosting a class like that once a month and seeing the 6-figure revenue coming in automatically, predictably? 1 class a month, 10 people, 10K. You with me? So the big takeaway here is you don't need a ton of people in the room, okay? What we like to do is think about, let's say you want to make 10 sales. And if you're closing the room at around 20%, that means you just need to take that number 10 and multiply it by 5. I know sometimes this math, even for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, but 10 times 5 is 50, right? If you got 50 people in the room and you're closing 20% of that crew, that 50 people, that will give you your 10 sales. So let me know in the comments below, could you imagine hosting a virtual event with 50 people in it? Give me a yes in the comments below if you can play along with me, the game of imagination. It's the best game to play, 6-figure day. So give me a yes down below if you can imagine hosting 50 people in a class. Now I'm sure you got questions like, okay, well, how do I get the 50 people, right? But I'll dive in. This is how we love to fill a room with 50 people. Before I tell you how to close it with 50, my first event had 12 people in it. Can you imagine that? 12 people. And that was my very first 6-figure day. I sold 5 out of that 12 into a $20,000 package. Is that making a little bit of sense? So I sold 5 at 20K. That was my very first 6-figure day. So give me a yes down below if you could imagine 12 people in your class, right? So isn't it fun thinking about this? Let's talk about between 10 to 50 people. How do we get them in the room? When I first got started, the way I got people to show up to my masterclass was actually through just having a Facebook group. I started a little tiny group and I had 20 people in it. I kept inviting people individually inside my community, inside my network, inside friends of friends. I was like, hey, do you want to join this group? It's all about learning how to become confident. That's what I was teaching at the time. So I started just interacting and building a small little community on Facebook. I started showing up in live videos inside that group because that's how I was starting to get comfortable and find my voice, find what I wanted to talk about, and listen to hear what they wanted me to talk about as well. People call this in marketing an ask campaign. An ask campaign, very officially, is when you ask a small group of people, hey, what's your number one challenge trying to accomplish this? What's your number one challenge? Trying to lose those last 5 pounds. What's your number one challenge? Trying to grow your business. Hey, what's your number one challenge? Trying to attract that man or that woman of your dreams. So when you ask this question, some people call it an ask campaign. Listening to your audience is the absolute key to converting your next $10,000 and $100,000 in sales. So as I started showing up on live video and getting to know the people in this community, they kept telling me what else they wanted to learn about with confidence. So what I did is I said, thank you so much. This is incredible. I took all their information, I studied it, and I said, I'm going to be hosting a deeper masterclass on these topics. You can join me for $47. So I started selling tickets to this masterclass. It was so cool. I remember the first time people bought tickets and I was like, oh, so excited. So that's actually how I sold the first tickets to my masterclass that helped me do a 6-figure day. Now, if you want to get a little fancy pants and want to pay for ads or produce videos on social media, you absolutely can, but I don't want you to overthink it. Many people think they need a big budget or a big audience or to be famous pants or to be a big guru, and 100%, you just need to show up on Facebook, start helping people. That's how you can start filling your masterclasses. If you want to dive deeper and hear more about paid traffic strategies or more advanced fancy pants strategies, click the link in the comments below where you can check out my best and free training. Now, let's talk about hosting this event and then what are you going to sell them, right? Many people are like, okay, number one, Eileen, what do I talk about in this event? Number two, what am I going to offer them and sell them at the end of the event? One super cool sniper tip I want to give you, if you're a business owner and you have a low ticket product that you're already selling, are you ready for this? Bonus 2 tickets every time someone purchases that low ticket product. Maybe you got an ebook, maybe you got a course, maybe you're selling something on an automated webinar, maybe you had a $97 such and such, so and so, la la la, doesn't matter, whatever it is, bonus 2 tickets to your masterclass. Does that make sense? It's the easiest and most automated way to sell tickets on autopilot if, watch me, you already have a converting low ticket offer. If you do not have a converting low ticket offer, don't do that. That will take way too much time to figure out how to make a converting low ticket offer. It's too hard. Just go with the Facebook strategy, start selling tickets kind of one-on-one. It will fill so much faster that way. I'm always looking for the sniper way in. So only if you got a converting low ticket product, bonus 2 tickets. You with me? Okay. Now let's talk about the last 2 parts of this, hosting that event and then the offer. Let's start with the offer because a lot of people are like, oh, Eileen, okay, this is so cool. I could have my own masterclass. This is going to be amazing. What do I sell? And that's another great question, right? Like, what is the package look like that you're going to offer? So I want to start here with what would be an absolute dream thing for you to deliver. Let's talk about this irresistible offer for a second. Yes, we're going to sell it. Yes, it's going to be banana pants. It's going to be insane. Money raining down from heaven. But first, think about what would be like insane in the membrane for your client. What would be a dream offer for them? Typically, a lot of clients that I talk to, their mind starts going into areas where like, well, my clients struggle with this, let's say fitness, let's say relationships, let's say marketing, business, sales, scaling, operations, all this stuff. My clients really struggle with this. And a dream outcome for them would be coming to me, flying to me, being with my team, me helping them put together a bunch of stuff, me doing a bunch of tests on them if I'm in health, me diagnostically studying them, whatever it is that your sauce is. Typically, my client's mind will start to work towards speed. It will start to work toward how can I get this result for my client even faster? So that is the primary question I want your mind to center around. Even write it on a whiteboard, or if you're taking notes right now, I'd highly encourage you to ask this question. I heard this from a $100 million entrepreneur. How can I get my clients this result even faster? Inevitably, your mind will probably start drifting to having some kind of workshop, event, intensive, perhaps layering in some kind of done-for-you services. Maybe it's at this exotic location. Maybe you're flying in super fancy pants, extra special sauce guest speaker. This is where your starting point is for the offer. This is why you want to offer high ticket. You want it to be expensive for a lot of reasons. The number one being you could serve your clients at the highest level. Wouldn't that feel amazing if you could curate the most optimal answer for your client? What if you could, in 2 or 3 days, get more done for your client than it would take them 5 years to figure out, right? You could do that if you charge enough money so that you could have the support that you need, coaches, staff, experts, doctors, whatever it is that you need to do to get your client to that result. The game is this: how can you put together the best offer on the market that will get the client the result the fastest and the best? And it doesn't even need to be you. In fact, you not being the person that does all the delivery, all the work, all the services, all the things, wouldn't that be a new level for you and the business to scale, right? So the game is curation. The game is imagination. The game is in the mind. Who can put together the best offer, they win. Hands down, all day long, every day, whoever puts together the best offer wins. If you can track with me and suspend all disbelief, put together an offer that's at least $10,000. Think about where it needs to be, who needs to be a part of it. Make sure your margins are there. I'll teach you all this stuff if you stick with me in this video and other videos, but curate a high ticket experience so that your client can actually get the result. It's just amazing to me how many offers do not actually help people. Here's another solid reason why you want to put together a high ticket offer is because the client will actually do the work and pay attention. Have you heard this statement that those who pay attention? It's so cool, right? In the scripture, it actually says where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Isn't it amazing that when we put money into things, we start to care about them? Have you ever bought a piece of technology, a laptop, iPhone, earbuds, a camera, something that you love, and you don't leave it around anywhere? You remember it, right? You're like, oh, wait, where's my phone? Right? Remember? So it's like our heart is always tracking our pocketbook, right? So your clients, when they invest high ticket with you, they are going to show up with their pencils sharpened, notebooks ready to put in the work, and then therefore ready to actually be coachable, do what you say, and watch this, do the work to actually get the result. Clients who pay attention, they're the ones that produce the best testimonials. They're the ones that actually get into momentum. You know all this, okay? But high ticket, at least 10K, please. The last reason I'm going to give you before we dive into how to crush it at speaking it at the event is, my friend calls this have anti-resentment pricing. You want to charge high ticket so that you don't resent your clients, right? That they value the incredible quality work that you do, and you are incentivized to show up, right? How excited would you be if people paid you $10,000 to hear you curate this beautiful offer that you teach and you show them your cool stuff? You'd be like, I know I am. When my clients come, I have a time in my life. It's such a highlight for me. There is no fear, dread, anxiety, none of that. I am so excited to hang out with my clients. They're like my favorite people. And if you're watching this video, shout out to you, because hanging out with you and my high ticket clients it's a dream. So anti-resentment pricing. Okay, now that we're talking about your offer, your mind is thinking about what would make the most irresistible offer. And again, if you want support and more training on this, click the link in the comments below, because one of the things that I'm most known for, and I have a superpower I'd love to serve you with, is putting together your irresistible offer so that people say yes and it sells like crazy pants, right? I just love putting together offers. Now let's talk about, what do you say? How do you keep people excited, engaged? how do you sell effortlessly without even it feeling like you're selling at the end of the event? All right? Are you having fun? Let's go. Let's talk about hosting that event. The best thing that you'll get out of this section of the video is this one principle, that sales is a transference of energy. If you can show up with your best self, if you can show up, I like to say it called you times two, or really the real you, and communicate your essence, your energy, your flow. If you can have fun in your virtual event, you will never be broke again a day in your life. You are gonna have so much fun hosting these virtual events. Here's what it feels like. Well, people first, before their first event, they go, Eileen, legit? I'm gonna freak out. Like they're just level 9,000 having so many sensations. And I say, here's what it's gonna feel like, Susie. I say, Susie, you know how you sit down with your friend and have coffee and you start talking and you guys are really, you and your friend are like into the same things, listening to the same teachers, into the same podcasts, you read the same books, and how you could, with your friend having coffee, just go on and on and on and on, nuances and just bunny trails, and suddenly like you lose track of time and you're like, oh, and it's so uplifting, it's so energizing. That is how it feels in these virtual events. Why? Because if you get the title and the hook right for the event, everybody's coming around together around this topic. For instance, in our virtual events, people love to talk about speaking and communication, persuasion, sales. People love to talk about revenue and growing and scaling and conversion, that we just nerd out times level 9,000 around the same topics. And that is going to be how it is for you. It's like you're in flow for hours and there's a conversation happening with the audience. One great tip I'll give you here in just a minute, the conversation produces so much content in the event, you literally like run out of time. You're like, guys, it's dinner time and we have to go. That is how your virtual event will feel. Now let's talk about, how do you get that engagement with the audience? Well, here's how I love to do it. I love to teach for a few minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes. I love to teach on the top mistakes people are making in this area, or big observations I'm seeing, or what's worked for me or my clients. So I'm just teaching some tips, some bullet points, some lessons, right? For a section. And then I'll pause and ask the audience for takeaways. I'll be like, yo, what's resonating with you? What's an aha for you? In fact, let me ask you right now, you can do this on video just like this. Say, tell me in the comments below, what have I shared so far about virtual events that has inspired you, ignited something for you, given you a new aha, or you want to tell us in the comments below about your offer? Tell me what's resonating with you in the comments below. You can take a quick second, just type it in the comments below and just, this part stood out to me, or this is what I'm hearing, or this is so cool, or I'm going to sell this, right? So I'll pause in the virtual event and ask people to raise their hand in Zoom, which is a little button at the bottom lower area of their screen, and invite them to talk and share. It's so fun and so cool. They'll just share their takeaways. And while they're sharing their takeaways, they are what we call embedding the learning. They're learning at a deeper level because they're sharing it and teaching others it, which causes them to retain the information and, watch this, actually remember it later and be able to do it. So when you pause for takeaways in your events, it's going to really help your clients remember what it is that we're talking about, right? Then after the takeaways, here's what I love to do next is I love to ask people for questions. I'll say, so cool, that's amazing. And I'll always celebrate people after they do their takeaways. I just applaud, I want to always help people know how courageous and valuable it is for the whole event when somebody gets the boldness to stand up and raise their voice and share, right? So I always applaud people for that, because so many people are so scared to do that. It takes a lot of courage sometimes to stand up in front of a room and share something, right? So I'm always applauding and celebrating. You want that energy, that vibe high in the room. That will also really help people retain information. Isn't that interesting? When there's more energy in the room, it helps us retain the memory. The next part I'll do is I'll ask questions. I'll say, hey, what questions do you have about speaking? Or what questions do you have about the offer? Or what questions do you have? And then that is a great opportunity for you to listen. Now, entrepreneur, business owner, the number one mistake that people are not making right now is they're not listening to their market. They're not listening to their ideal person, client, avatar, whatever it is, fancy word you want to say, they're not listening. People right now are telling you exactly what they want you to talk about in their event. Let me give you an example. Recently, I was at an event and someone said, Eileen, this is great and all. Loving it, so good. But I am in a service-based business. What could I sell for $10,000 that people would fly to me and I could teach on? Right? So that you could see their biggest struggle was like, I am physically working, doing this thing. In fact, I just talked to somebody this morning who's in this spot where she's like, I'm day in, day out, I'm doing all the things. Like, how could I convert that into a coaching, a consulting, or a mastermind offer? So you see how the question itself is now giving me the content of what I could share on for the next 15 minutes. Does that make sense? So the questions are the key to your content. They're the key to knowing what to put in your offer. The questions are the game. So listen, right? And a little known fact about events and speaking is the more the audience talks, the more they'll buy. So cool, right? So takeaways, questions, can't say it enough, but that's, my friend, how you fill that time, that 4-hour, that 5-day challenge. It flies by, and that's why at the end we get to the pitch. So let's dive into the last portion of this video. If you're sticking with me, let me recap here. Virtual events are the keys to 6- and 7-figure days. The way we fill them is just through Facebook communities, small little communities, and then we're inviting people to join us for a deeper training where we'll sell a $47 VIP ticket. That's how we're making those initial sales, okay? And then we're gonna fill that content with things that you teach and a lot of takeaways and questions, okay? Now, you probably have questions. So drop them in the comments below and I'm happy me and my team will be there to support you. Or you can click on the link inside the description where you can dive deeper into my best and free training, okay? Let's talk about the pitch. Here is where a lot of entrepreneurs, maybe you've seen them, get really weirdy pants, right? You can feel it. You can feel something shift in the energy. Some people like to say they can feel the speaker or the entrepreneur starting to sell on their heels. There's something that pulls back. There's something that changes in their tone. Their eyes start getting diverted. I know all this because I've done it, okay, number one. But then you can also feel it now off of other people and speakers until I learned these few tips that helped me sell effortlessly. So here we go. When you move to the invitation, I don't like to say pitch, I like to say invitation because all I'm doing is inviting people to the next party. This has been awesome. This has been insane. Hey, for those of you that want to dive a little bit deeper, I got this party coming up and you're invited. That's why I call it an invitation. It's an invitation, not a pitch. Now, when we're moving to the invitation, lots of moves you could do here. Some are more advanced. The quickest and easiest invitation that you can issue at your virtual event is simply to hop on a call. So I'll talk about this in just a few seconds, but there's advanced moves which people call classic selling from stage, where you do the entire offer and price reveal, meaning going through the entire offer and the investment amount and all the things, all the details. That takes a little bit more time, skill, nuance, trust with the audience. So there's a few moves that I don't prescribe people do that right away when they're first getting started. I like to sell from stage and do a full price reveal after I've validated an offer and definitely done 6 figures in a virtual event already. The way that I'll do that initial 6 figures to find out if I'm ready to sell from stage is I have people book a call. So this is a really easy invitation. So imagine with me toward the end of your class, you're running out of time, the coffee's ending, the flows, we gotta go, we got families, all the things, right? You say something like this. Number 1, ask permission. You say, hasn't this been awesome? Give me a yes in the comments below. If you've found this valuable, if you've gotten tips, if you've gotten tricks, if you're ready to implement, give me a yes in the comments. Hey, would it be okay with you if for the next couple minutes I shared with you about how we serve people? You see that? Ask for permission. This is just called asking for permission. We're just gonna ask if it's okay if we share a little bit about how we serve people. And then I'll say, give me a yes in the comments below if that's all right with you. So you see how we're just like leading people step by step, kind of around the curve of what's happening next. And you hear how elegant it is and not pushy, okay? Now the next tip I want to give you here during the invitation is to stay leaned out. What do I mean by that? It's a phrase I came up with that is the opposite of leaning in. Which is a stance of pressure, a stance of force, a stance of need. Here's the energy that you want to have in your invitation. You want it to be leaned out, and the energy is buy or don't buy, I'm good. Take the offer or don't take the offer, I'm fine. I'm okay. This is about you. Does that make sense? If you can remember the friends or people you admired in high school, or maybe even the super popular people in high school, they typically had this kind of leaned out energy, which was, I don't like me or don't like me, I'm good. And that kind of energy frees up, gives space for people to actually then, they lean in. When people are leaned out, other people lean in. It's interesting, it's magnetizing, it's mysterious, because nothing pushes people further away than a needy energy. Have you experienced this? Maybe by a salesperson, maybe by a friend, maybe by somebody who wanted to date you. Don't tag them below, but if you ever experienced someone coming with a needy energy, I remember one time I was at a timeshare presentation, and I've never felt so much desperation from these salespeople. It was insane. And nothing causes people to run, right? Than that kind of energy. So when you're issuing this invitation, it's, hey, is it okay with you if I share a little bit about how we serve people? Give me a yes in the comments. Thank you so much. Thank you. And then you say something like, well, my company actually helps this type of person get this type of result. Here is a great opportunity for you to get specific. So my company or my business or my job or here's what I do is I love to help entrepreneurs do 6 and 7 figure days with virtual events. So first you're gonna say who you help and then what you do. So like I help women over 40 lose that last 10 stubborn pounds fast and easily, typically with some type of hormone replacement. So you can insert kind of a little bit about your super sexy ninja sauce is what I love to call it. Like a little bit how you do it. Like, hey, what's your thing? To break down my statement, I help entrepreneurs do 6 and 7 figure days using virtual events. Do you hear that? For my advanced marketing friends out there, that's typically called a unique mechanism. So that's the tool or the thing, the big idea of how I help people. So you can say something like that. Now people are intrigued. They're like, wow, that's so cool. And then you could say something like, if you would like to dive deeper and learn more about our workshop or more about our intensive or more about our in-person thing that helps you get this result, the 6 and 7 figure days at an accelerated rate, I'd love to talk with you on a quick call. So you see how it's like, if you want to dive deeper and get this result faster, let's talk. And that is the invitation to book a call. You see how it's not chock full and overstuffed with complication, details, too much information? Do you see how quick, elegant, simple it is? There's a reason for that. Because when you talk too much, especially about your offer, oh my gosh, people tune out. They do. They 100%. If you overcomplicate the mind, a confused mind never buys. So you just want to talk about how you help people, the result you get. If you would like to get this result faster, let's talk on a call. Make sense? Because everyone's like, yes, I would love to get that result faster. And the way you're going to be able to deliver on that promise, right, is this type of crazy, cool, sexy offer we talked about earlier. It's going to help them get the result even faster. Don't overcomplicate it. And definitely don't start talking about all the pieces of your offer. People fall in love so much with their offers that they become too romantic about it. So don't do this. Don't get so romantic about your offer. I've just seen people be like, I'm going to have this guest speaker and there's 18 modules and 49 videos and 16 hours. No, all of that just sounds like work. And you don't want to give your client work. You want them to buy your offer. And if they hear all that, they will not take the next step. So just make it clean and simple for the mind to just take the next step, which is what? To book that call with you, okay? That's how you'll easily do your first 6-figure day. If you can see it and believe it, give me an amen in the comments below. That's the easiest way to close people on a high ticket offer. It's an invitation to book a call. You don't want to have calls booked for the next 19 years. You want your call calendar only to be open for the next couple days after your virtual event. Say, I only have this many spots available. I really want to encourage you to book in before they all fill up. Why? Because you want to keep, those are hot leads ready to buy, help them buy. Don't do a disservice to them and open up a call a week from then where they've now passed the decision. Okay, that's a disservice and that's not serving them. So you got it? 2 days. Okay. All right, let's bring this all together. So now we have created this offer. We've had this virtual event experience. We've had been in flow, we're having conversation, we're listening, we're inviting them to book a call, we're closing down those sales over the next 2 days. Oh, this is so beautiful and it's so wonderful. The next move after you do that is to collect the money. So let me just talk about that as we close up today. Typically, if you're selling something $10,000 or more on an offer, now let me encourage you, if you're like, Eileen, I still can't tell something 10K, you're insane in the membrane, maybe one day, you could do what I did when I first got started, which was like, before I sold that $20,000 at my first event, I started learning sales over the phone and just increasing my pricing on the phone. So when you get on the phone, the cool thing is you don't even need to have the entire offer figured out or the price. You just be there, serve them, listen to what they need and be like, yep, that's 100% how we're going to help you inside of this offer. And then you could test out your pricing and grow in your conviction of what you can sell this for. So for me, I started off at $297, about fell out of my chair when I first sold it, so happy. And then I kept doubling that price. So I was about $300, then $600, then $1,200, then $2,400. I just kept increasing until I sold that same offer at $6,000 that I sold for $297. So you can grow in your conviction. But if you're already there, you got the conviction, you're like, I'm ready to go on the call. Don't take the full $10,000 unless you are prepared and know exactly how to do that and you have a great track record with your payment provider. Just simply take a deposit. It's really, really easy. Just simply take a $400 or $1,000 deposit there on the phone. Whatever, something in that range is a really good price. It's a micro commitment toward the high ticket offer. Okay, so you just want to secure their seat with the deposit. It's really funny. People are like, Eileen, why do you do that? And it's interesting, when people do that micro commitment and put that deposit down, they have in their mind bought the whole offer. For some reason, they feel that that full 10K, that full 20, whatever the investment amount that they're in, like they've got it. I was talking to my friend once who had bought an exotic car and he's like, I just bought a Lamborghini. And I was like, that's so cool. And I couldn't remember exactly what a Lamborghini. I was like, I think looks like, in my mind, I was like, how'd you buy it? Like, how does it work? I'd never bought a Lamborghini before. And he said, they just had me put a deposit down. He said the deposit was $2,000. I said, oh, so you put the $2,000 deposit? And he's like, yeah. But in his mind, can you hear it? He bought the Lamborghini. So the deposit in the mind is a converted sale inside the mind of the purchaser. So that's a really cool thing for you to know. And then you can work out the details with them later, maybe payment plan, maybe investment, maybe they get funded through a partner. There's lots of ways to fulfill that investment. Again, if I can support you and dive deeper with you in some of these nuances, click the link in the description. We'd love to serve you a little bit further because I know there are questions that people have around how do I collect that money? How do I secure and make sure that that person is fully served at my event? If you're like me, you want to serve people at the highest level. So that's me too. And this is why our team has curated our best and free training. So if you'd like to dive deeper with us, or we can help you put together your irresistible offer, just click the link in the comments below. Above all, I just really want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for investing in your business, because the reason just you and watching this video, investing in your business, is serving your clients at the highest level. And I want to thank you for doing that. So, all right, thanks again for watching, and I can't wait to see you on the next video.